approximately 5.3 to 7.3 million people are taken victim to human trafficking around the world annually. Human trafficking is an ongoing issue in the world today, and for such a small country, one of the smallest in the world, Nepal is leading in the numbers of women and children trafficked from their country. Nepal is the fourth poorest country in the world, and human traffickers are taking advantage of the struggles of others to make a profit, uncaring of the suffering that these people are enduring or whether they live or die. Today I'll be talking about some of the different kinds of human trafficking that goes on in the world today, human trafficking and slavery, and what happens to the people that are taken victim. So, my first point, types of human trafficking. The first kind I'm going to talk about is work and domestic slaves, and they are usually women, some men, but men are harder to take captive, so normally it's young boys and women and children that are taken into captivity for this reason, and mostly they're taken for, like, they're sold, actually here in America, they're taken from Nepal and sold here in South America to work in the timber companies. And then the second kind I'm going to talk about is sex trafficking, and many of these people are young girls and young women that are sold by their families or people that they know and trust, and they can range anywhere between ages 7 and 24, so just like your dad, one day you turn 7 years old and your dad decides to sell you to his best friend. And then the third kind is forced organ donation. It's not uncommon in Nepal as a healthy man to be kidnapped and then wake up after surgery with a kidney missing, and they'll sell your kidney on the black market. So then, my second point, victims of human trafficking usually only survive about 7 years in captivity. So, picture this scenario. Say you're a 12-year-old girl and you're selling tea on the streets because both of your parents are dead and that's the only way that you can earn money. And one day, this man that buys tea from you all the time says, "I really like you and I would like to give you a job. I have one for you in India." And so he promises to pay for your trip and that you'll have a nice warm place to live instead of living on the streets like you have been. And then you wake up in a strange country and you get branded and beaten, and they say that they're going to kill everyone that you love if you don't do what these men want you to do. That happens to hundreds of thousands of women and girls in Nepal each year, according to a book I read called Up for Sale. 27% of these victims are children, and in Nepal, HIV and AIDS is on the rise rapidly because it is a common belief that if you have sex with a child or a virgin that it will cure your HIV or AIDS, according to Women and Girls, a Commodity. I found sex trafficking to be the most common in my research and also the most horrifying. The sickening practice needs to stop, but while challenging, it is not impossible, which brings me to my third point. The Nepalese government is making leaps and bounds on their laws against human trafficking, but as it is such a poor country, a lot of people aren't documented there, so they're having a hard time knowing who's missing, let alone searching for them and finding these people. Different ways that they could stop it is like strengthening the checkpoints around Nepal, because a lot of women are sold to brothels in India, and basically if they raided these brothels instead of putting the women in prison, arresting the men, they would solve a lot of the problem there, because most of these women are illegal immigrants, however, not on purpose. And in conclusion, I talked about the different kinds of human trafficking, the victims, and the ways that we can prevent this from happening. These women and children are being subjected to innumerable horrors every day, and It is one of the most profitable industries in the world, which makes me sick, bringing in between $30 and $45 billion a year, more than almost any industry. This needs to stop. Thank you.